Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, we'll kick things off talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Yuzu. And the paid testing early access version of Yuzu just got a brand new update. So as of early access 4053, it now loads the input profile you selected the last time you booted Yuzu. And it fixes a number of gimmick issues in games. For example, Pokemon Quest is now fully playable with the new implementation. They do say though, note that this does not fix the time flow in Pokemon Sword and Shield, which may need further investigation in the future. However, as this is a pretty big change, if users notice that the time gimmick is broken compared to the mainline version with games, please let us know. And on top of that, yesterday we talked about SMMU for Yuzu, where SMMU stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or System Memory Management Unit, depending on how you want to interpret that. Anyways, Blinkhawk gave us even more context. Yuzu Dev here, SMMU is the foundation, not specifically for optimizations. Those come naturally, but of an extremely cool feature that will bump accuracy and overall emulation feeling. I cannot leak what's coming, but if you notice what others have been doing and focus on multi-process, you can know what it is. My SMMU changes are one of those. HID changes by NAR are another foundation. The cherry that binds it all together is missing. Call me crazy, but Yuzu is worth paying attention to. There's no time frame on any of this stuff, but at least the developers seem to be working on it. And I can't wait to see what they achieve next. Next up, we're talking about Game Boy Advance emulation with one of my favorite GBA emulators, mGBA, and mGBA just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, mGBA version 0.10.3 is the latest update. Andriff says this version is a bug fix release which contains several important fixes. Important fixes include multiplayer windows always going too fast, and an issue with the updater that prevented switching to the development branch. If you wanted to read the entire changelog, I'll drop a link to it in the description below. mGBA is 100% free, it's open source, it's available for Windows, Mac, and Linux, and also some other systems. And speaking about open source, next up, this one's a quick one but a fun one. We're talking about SNESTang. SNES for SIP Speed Tang Primer 25K FPGA. This thing just surfaced on GitHub, and the creator says, introducing SNESTang, my project to create the smallest FPGA Super Nintendo. This version 0.1 release features base SNES machine over 720p HDMI, ROM loading from FAT32SD, and menu system for choosing ROMs. Now, I don't want to say that this is the smallest FPGA for SNES games out there. I mean, the Analog Pocket exists, and I think it would give this a run for its money. Anyways, though, this is a really neat project. If you're into FPGA, this is something worth checking out. And speaking about brand new stuff, next up we're talking about PS5 modding, and it appears there's a brand new application out called PS5 Xplorer, currently, I would argue, in beta stage. PS5 Xplorer requires a hacked PS5, and it's basically a file explorer. It allows users to move, copy, paste, delete, and rename files. If you are curious about this one and wanted to see it in action, I'll drop a link to Nanospeed Gamer's video in the description below, and I do recommend checking it out. The video is in Spanish, so if you don't speak Spanish, it's still pretty easy to follow along. Now, as to why I consider this a beta, I could be missing something, but if you take a look at the screen here, it does say it's sandboxed. So what you can actually see and do in the application is pretty limited. But as per Lappy's tweet, it says it's only sandboxed for now, so I'm curious to see what the future is for PS5 Xplorer. Next up, we're quickly talking about Unity, and it appears that Unity is cutting about 1,800 jobs, or 25% of its staff, in a company reset. Now, as far as I know, this reset is a continuation of what Unity is currently doing, all stuff that's hot off the heels of their previous pricing model that was highly controversial and ultimately scrapped, and their old CEO who ended up retiring or stepping down. What's crazy to me is how well their stock is doing in spite of all of this news, or maybe because of all of this news. It is up significantly since just a few months ago. And speaking about stock that's up, next up we're talking about NVidia. And NVIDIA's stock is well up today because of what they showed off at CES. So NVIDIA officially unveiled the 4080 Super, the 4070 Super, and the 4070 Ti Super. And the pricing for these video cards was a little bit lower than some people were expecting. The 4080 Super is going to be priced at $1,000 or $999 US. And the 4070 Ti Super is going to be priced at $799 US. And the 4070 Super is going to be priced at $599 US. And if I heard them right, NVIDIA is claiming that the 4080 Super is going to be about twice as fast as the 3080 Ti in certain situations. These cards go on sale towards the mid to end of January. And speaking about NVIDIA, next up we're quickly talking about the Half-Life 2 RTX and RTX Remix project. And a brand new trailer just dropped. I'll drop a link to it in the description below. In the event that you are interested in this one, there's going to be an open beta on January 22nd. In my opinion, it's going to make Half-Life 2 seem like an entirely new game. And if we take a look at the preview images here, I want to say the models have also been completely redone. This isn't simply ray tracing, unless I'm wrong. Either way, I'll drop a link to some helpful information in the description below in the event that you wanted to check out the beta, and let me know your thoughts about this version of Half-Life 2 in the comments below. And speaking about stuff that was unveiled, next up we're talking about the MSI Claw, and we've got some more information on this very interesting handheld. If you are curious about this one, the entire 360 of the product is up on their website, and I'll drop a link to it in the description below. The Claw is going to be packed with a 53 watt-hour battery life, and they're saying it lasts 50% longer compared to the market average. And I'm curious to see if that's just in their testing or if it holds up in the real world. Taking a look at the specs in detail, and there's not a whole lot here we already didn't know. The resolution on the screen is 1080p at 120 Hz. And it will have, it says LPDDR5 RAM. I'm pretty sure it's 16 gigs of RAM and not 32 like we initially thought. And it will have a 65 watt charger. It's also going to have Hall effect triggers and joysticks. Now in terms of pricing, I have not seen anything solid just yet. A lot of people are expecting it's going to cost around $699, so similar to the ROG Ally. And there will be two different versions here, one with 512 gigs of storage, and one with 1 terabyte of storage. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. We talked about a few things today, and I've even got some more stuff to talk about tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts about anything we talked about today in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate, save your state.